my client, Kerry, here, who is a physician, an OBGYN. Kerry, thank you so much for being here. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell us who you are. Would you mind sharing your ADHD journey with us? So how did you survive medical school? Hey, what's up? This is Kristen Carter, and you've tuned into the I Have ADHD podcast. I am medicated, caffeinated, regulated, and ready to roll. I'm so excited for our episode today because it's going to be deep. It is going to be a deep and soulful episode, and I think you're going to love every single second of it. I have my client, Carrie, here, who is a physician, an OBGYN, who went through medical school as a person with ADHD and then succeeded in the workplace as a person with ADHD. And she's going to tell her story. She's going to talk about what it was like. She's going to talk about burnout. She's going to talk about the impact that professors and teachers had on shaping her self-concept as a physician with ADHD. It's going to be deep. It's going to be good. You are in for a treat. As usual, as we get started, you know what I'm going to say. This podcast is sponsored by this podcast. So if you could go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, review, do all of the fun things for us, that would be great. It is the best way that you can support the show. It is the nicest thing that you can do for Kristen Carter. It's literally the nicest thing that you can do for me. And so I would so appreciate it. Press that like button if you're watching on YouTube and you want to say hi to Carrie and just be like, hey, I love your red hair. It's gorgeous. Or I love your red glasses. Go ahead and do that and interact with this podcast, with the show in some way. It's the best way that you can support it. All right, let's get to the show. Carrie, thank you so much for being here. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell us who you are.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Very excited.
Good. I'm excited too.
Yeah. My name's Carrie, and I am an OBGYN physician. I am 50 years old.
Which is shocking. When she told me that earlier, because I am obnoxious and I ask questions like that, I fell over. Like, how is this possible? It gives me hope. It gives me so much hope. I love it.
Yeah, so I will not go into the answer I gave you before about,
She just looks so young, y'all. She looks so young.
And then related, I'm actually a single mom by choice of a almost 7-year-old boy.
Love.
I'm an ADHD coach, and I am also a certified coach because of ADHD, several other modalities.
I love it. It's so great.
Yeah, and I live in Boulder, Colorado. And just really excited to be here.
Cool.
But again, additional piece of me is I absolutely have ADHD, and my journey with that sort of has evolved over time. And so I think that's how learning more about ADHD through your program and then a lot of other ways sort of has really brought this to become a little bit more of a focus of interest for me.
Yeah. So would you mind sharing your ADHD journey with us? Like, what has that looked like for you? When were you diagnosed? And I'm very interested to know, what was it like being diagnosed as a physician?
So I was diagnosed when I was 20.
Oh, wow. Okay. Were you in medical school at the time or pre-med?
I was not.
Okay.
So I was pre-med. And so, I was diagnosed when I was 20, but my diagnosis consisted of, I think, I can't remember this part, but something going through the school services.
Oh,
And then it sort of casually came up. And then I did a year between college and medical school where I did research with a pediatric neurologist. And one day my boss just said, so should we talk about your ADHD? And I started crying because I was, again, I knew that I was struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And so for her to see me, which is a theme that we'll revisit in terms of actually being seen, was really helpful. And so I never went through neuropsych testing. I never did anything. She just watched me.
Yep.
And then was like, I think you have this.
Mm-hmm.
And then But for me, there was no discussion of it. My only awareness of ADHD was that I was kind of a hot mess in my mind, and that I really struggled with some things, and I was kind of messy. And so I didn't really know anything over and above what I knew nothing about executive functions. Like I knew things were hard for me, but I didn't know that that was part of the diagnosis.
Yeah.
So got in with a psychiatrist, started medication, had incredible barriers to getting medication over time because it's like you have to make an appointment, and you have to make an appointment in 3 months because this was because I'm 50, like this was in the 90s.
Dang.
And so I would get medication, and then I would not have like regular follow-up, and I really wouldn't have sort of the thing. And so then I would stop taking medicine and then get on and off it and on and off it. So not consistency.
Yeah.
And then, you know, my awareness now of in the last couple of years of, again, through finding your podcast and also really starting to just sort of work with, you know, doing coaching and sort of underlying, like, actually, what does having ADHD mean?
Yeah.
I've learned a lot more about, like, again, a lot of the executive functions, which has been sort of, so my journey of I was diagnosed relatively early.
Wow.
But not really, didn't actually know what it meant and didn't actually have any help or support around it for the most part.
So how did you survive medical school?
Well, I was interested in it.
Ah, yes. So good.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I think a lot of the issue, like talking about some of this stuff sort of down the roads of how it impacts me now in my life really started with elementary school.
Tell us.
So I was, it feels weird saying it because there's not, again, varying degrees of, you know, intelligence, and we're all intelligent in different ways. But in elementary school, I was
Come on, just say it. You're smart. Own it.
Yeah. So
good.
And I tested in elementary school and was put in like the gifted program.
Great.
And then struggled.
Yep.
And so in first grade, I had a teacher who I had a special seat at the front of the classroom.
You and every other listener.
Special seat at the front of the classroom.
Yeah.
And what I'll talk about now sort of is just sort of how things sort of reasons that stuff show up now is that I remember being in the front of the classroom. We were learning we had to write our name on the top of the paper, and we had to look at the flag to see, like, it's going to be on the right side or the left side of the paper based on, like, look at the flag. That's how you write. Like, that's how you know to remember what side to write it on.
Okay.
And so from my vantage point in the classroom, which was different than all the other kids, it was on the opposite side. And I remember getting in trouble. And as a 6-year-old, being like, but I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm following the rules. But getting in trouble and not having an adult or the teacher say, oh, honey, I see what you did there.
Yes.
And instead just being like, you're being bad, or you're doing it wrong, or you're intentionally doing this. And so, like, for me, that just sort of became a pivotal moment in like the starting of ADHD and getting in trouble.
Is that like a theme, like a wounding theme for you? Like getting in trouble, ADHD leading to getting in trouble?
100%.
And then how did that kind of, how did you see that in other areas or like moving forward in school? Was that just happening over and over in the same type of way?
Every year, with the exception of my 3rd grade teacher, who I actually recently, last month, had a Zoom call with my 3rd grade teacher.
Kidding.
Because we had become Facebook friends, and there was something, I just wanted to know, like, what was different about her. So in my 20 years of school, she was just hands down my favorite one. And so I was just like, I just want to know, like, is this something that I imagined, or is this just something
Mm.
just because I just wanted to know? And so we talked for like an hour, and I told her my story of what happened in first grade. And she said, for me, it was fourth grade. And she said, my fourth grade teacher said, you should pick a career that doesn't involve art or singing because you're not very good at either of those things.
Oh my gosh. People can be horrible.
Yeah. So she said, as a teacher, when kids were doing it different, I just was always mindful of how I communicated with my kids.
Yes.
And also she talked about how later she was diagnosed with ADHD.
No way.
And she just said, like, the kids who were just turning in their homework and then just were like, didn't ask any questions, didn't do anything else. She's like, she had a harder time with them.
Yes.
But the kids who were just like curious or who needed to move and just really about meeting kids where they're at.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just made so much sense that, like, of course,
Yeah.
everything in my body loved her.
Yes.
In terms of like, I wasn't made wrong.
Mhm.
So, but the rest of my journey was sort of in school of like, there was a lot of things where I'm sort of impressed with myself of, in eighth grade, the advanced program, the teachers had to make a recommendation of, could you do the advanced program in high school or not? And they told me they weren't going to recommend it for me. I was like, this is going to be a no-brainer, of course. And
Yeah.
they said, we're not going to recommend you for that because you're not applying yourself. And I was like, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. My parents weren't in the room. I was there by myself.
Wow, that is impressive that you would advocate for yourself in that way.
Yeah. But for me, it's just so funny because there's so many examples of my life where I'm like, when I actually know and when I'm solid and when I'm grounded, like I have the capacity to be like, I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do.
Good for you. Yeah.
And balanced with, I have, in most of the other times in my life, I have such a need for external validation of like, but I need to know that I'm okay. And then if, like, again, there is that lack of self-trust because of perpetually being told you're not applying yourself, you're smart. Also, like, clearly I'm just lazy if I'm not turning in the work and not really looking at, for me, I think the bigger thing is just like not looking at this, like, the intention, not that, I mean, again, kids act out for all different reasons, but like I was never intentionally not doing works like in. And so just not being seen of like how hard I was trying, or like it wasn't intentionally like not turning stuff in because I didn't care. Like I was sort of just doing the best I could.
Did no one ask? Did no one ask you like, hey, why aren't you turning this in?
I think, and this is one of the things that sort of continues now. I think, teachers, in the 70s and 80s, girls didn't have ADHD. I mean, we did.
Right. But it wasn't known.
Right. It wasn't. So like, you're smart. So this just must be like, again, you're not applying yourself. And so, and doctors wouldn't have said, I mean, again, I knew boys that were on medication and those were boys who were doing things, but it just wasn't a girl problem.
Yeah.
And also because I was able to cram or stay up all night, even like in elementary school, or like staying up really late doing stuff. And so, I mean, I think, and my parents tried hard to like get me support or tutors, but also were sort of just, they didn't know what ADHD was.
Yeah.
And so just a lot of like, why aren't you, just a lot of sort of throwing your hands up of like, what are you doing? And why can't you do these things?
Yes. Did you get bad grades?
No, I didn't do, I mean,
like that, you don't strike me as somebody that would even be getting C's.
Right.
Yeah. So why are we throwing up our hands when your grades are fine?
I think it was a lot of, it would be procrastinate, put it off, and then
cram it in.
And then the computer would crash in the middle of the night, and then I would wake up my mom, and then she'd be like, we got to figure out how to not do this ahead of time.
Totally. Okay, I see.
And so like it was sort of just the thing of, because I was able to study and cram and do the
Yeah.
things and then do well on testing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think again, in some ways, like the masking the ADHD through intelligence and then also just drive because I mean, I guess luckily when I was in elementary school, I decided I want to be a doctor.
Mm.
And so then I was like, well, I'm just going to do that. And
Yes.
so I kind of figured it out, but I didn't do it the typical way of
Mhm.
like, yeah, so I got good grades, but
Mhm.
like not, yeah.
It's so interesting, and I think that anyone with high intelligence will relate to this, where you know you're capable, you know you're going to pull it off, but the behind the scenes is a dumpster fire. The behind the scenes is chaos. The behind the scenes, I don't know. I'd like to ask you, did you feel shame about the behind the scenes?
100%.
Mm.
And I still do now. I mean, I think the way that one of the many ways, if we're being honest, that I completely beat myself up about is like, you got through medical school. Like I'm a surgeon. I can do the things. Why can't I read an email?
Yeah.
Why can't I open the email? Why can't I return the
Yeah.
thing? And so that's again also like why is everything a perpetual dumpster fire in terms
Mhm.
of like kind of what I sort of describe it is that I put things in place and I figure it out because we're always looking for like the perfect structure, the
Of
perfect
course.
system. And so like I kind of just make stuff work until something goes sideways and then everything comes crashing down.
Mhm.
And so like you make it work until you don't. And then when it comes crashing down or you forget to turn something in and then you get a huge fine and then you beat yourself up and you actively ignore it and whatever. And you're
Yeah.
like, how could I be so capable at like doing these things with work?
Yeah.
But email and returning and all of the things are just so hard.
The universality, I don't even know if that's a word, but I feel like it might be.
We can patent it.
Okay. The universality of that exact concept of how can I be so competent in this area and such a dumpster fire in the rest of my life. It is so universal to the ADHD experience. And I think a lot of us make it mean like, oh, it's because I'm not that smart. And I just want everyone to understand. Like, we have a surgeon sitting in front of us here, like a brilliant physician who has the same exact struggle as all of the rest of us, where it's like, I'm so competent in my work or in this one area or in these couple areas. And then dumpster fire
Yeah.
in the rest of it.
Yeah, and I think now, I mean, that's one of those things I struggle with of working with like, I mean, obviously within medicine, like electronic medical records, and I'm really thoughtful about my notes and doing all of those things. But like sometimes I'll actively avoid stuff just because of
Mhm.
like, I'm like, oh, that's going to take a lot of thought and I don't have time now. And I want to
Yep.
give it the time that it deserves. And then
Yep.
from the outside appearance in the medical community, like you would think that physicians would just know like, oh, ADD, and I know what it means. But like even within the medical community, it is really not well known or
Mm.
understood. And I think that there is still a lot of sort of that thought of like, well, you need to do it. And if you're not doing it, then like there's some sort of intention behind me
Yes.
not doing it,
Yes.
which is like never the
So far
case.
from the truth.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us about that transition into the medical field? And how did your teachers then, the teachers that assumed that you were just flawed, assumed that you just didn't care, assumed that you just needed to get your act together. How did that impact you then, now working as a doctor?
I mean, I think it shows up as like deep embarrassment.
Mm,
And like I do like I feel really solid about my patient care.
mhm.
I like, just connecting with patients, making sure that they feel seen and heard and educated and sort of just I think that I'm a great doctor.
Yeah.
And for me, I really struggle with when still the idea of getting in trouble for hey, like we had the turnaround time for these return to patient like results or emails or just general work emails. Like what I really struggle with is like, I know that they're part of the job. There's two things that I struggle with. I know that they're part of the job, but when I get in trouble for that, I feel that like, can't we just focus on like that I have good reviews and people feel seen and validated with me? And isn't that more important? But also it is part of the job.
Yeah.
And so like, that's the thing where I'm like, okay, so it really is a job and I actually have to do those things.
Yeah. Hard.
But it is sort of a defensive mechanism of when I get in trouble for it, you're just like, but can't we focus on the more important part?
Yeah, like the outcomes of my patient care and all of that. I think that's so relatable to so many people because we all feel that way to some extent in our work, right? Well, I mean, I think we do, where it's just like, I'm so good. And like at the important things, at the things that actually matter.
Right.
Why can't I just be judged on that? And why do the things that don't matter, why do they matter so much to these freaking neurotypicals, to the normies?
Right.
Why does it matter so much to the normies?
Right. And then I also, because I can see the point of like, no, patient emails are, important and all those things.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it is just really hard. And then also just because of all of the stuff from like childhood. I mean, again, I did really well in medical school because I love it.
Yep.
So much.
Yep.
So like that makes it like fun. And even now, like any of the pages that I'm on like Facebook and I'm like, someone posts about something medical and I was like, I want to know what that is. Like I'm curious, but I'm also curious sort of by nature.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy it, but it is still this perpetuation of I'm going to get in trouble and also not wanting to let other people down and sort of navigating it in that way of like, it's hard. Anybody who sort of would be listening to this and being like, well, everyone struggles with in basket and everybody struggles with burnout and everyone struggles with these tasks. And I'm like 100%, like there's something, the medical system is pretty flawed in terms of how things are handled. So again, that is not a unique to ADHD, but think on top of the general population of physicians who are so burnt out and so overworked, add to it somebody who struggles tremendously with some executive function stuff. And so it just makes it like, not only am I struggling with it, but then I am beating myself up constantly about it. So like, it's just an added degree of like ridiculousness.
Yeah. I think it was Ari Tuckman who said recently on this podcast that ADHD doesn't create new problems. It just amplifies the universal problems. So like every physician is probably overworked and burn out to a certain extent. But somebody with ADHD, a physician with ADHD, that's going to be amplified. It's going to be under a microscope. It's going to be magnified to a much greater degree.
Yeah. And I do think like for me now, when I'm sort of transitioning with a lot of stuff and doing coaching and really wanting to sort of connect more in terms of like, potentially like advocacy or greater understanding of the problem physicians. Because again, there's varying degrees of problem physicians where, again, if you're having issues with substance abuse or if you're having, again, just inappropriate unprofessionalism stuff. But like, I just think more education around for physicians with ADHD, like the support is needed is different.
Yeah.
Like I think like physicians with ADHD, I mean, are amazing. And I think that we like bring a really different perspective. And I think that we add tremendous value. And like some things are harder. And so like, again, I think everyone needs support. But again, for a physician, like if we're getting in trouble or if there's a problem, then again, same thing in school.
Yes.
Taking a step back and looking at like, what does this person need as opposed to like, hey, this is a deficiency. Like, what support do people need instead of like, you just need to step up.
Oh, that hurt me when you said that. Like I felt the pain of that. Is that something that's been said to you?
Oh, yeah.
You just need to step up. And then your body reacts how?
So, I mean, it's in constant fight or flight. It has been. And one of the things that I know that I've shared with you in the past is I'm actually currently out on medical leave. because of a chronic pain condition. That I feel I mask that exponentially better than I do my ADHD. Like my ADHD, I just sort of show up as myself when I'm with patients and I'm doing those things because like, I don't know. I like it. And I like to be,
fun and quirky. That's how I experience you.
Yeah,
like fun, quirky, smart.
Yeah.
Those are the three ways that I would
and I just
describe
like want
you.
people, right. And like really, really focusing on like people being seen and heard and feeling validated and all of those things. Obviously not all the time, but like when I'm in my role, like that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I had, it's not directly related to ADHD, but it is related, I think, to the really self-harsh criticism and what other people think. But I had brain surgery 12 years ago for a neurologic condition called trigeminal neuralgia, which is just constant excruciating pain.
Oh my gosh.
I had a very traumatic experience with the workplace that I was at when that happened. I was told I dealt with the pain for a year. Just chronic excruciating pain.
Prior to surgery.
I told my partners I'm having thoughts of hurting myself. I can't do this anymore. I need to have the surgery. And I was told I needed to wait until after spring break because they all had plans.
Oh, girl.
Nobody checked about my mood. Nobody checked about anything. And yeah.
So did you?
Yeah.
Did you wait?
Yeah.
Tell me why you waited. So they said, no, you have to wait because we have plans. And your body did what? Like,
died a little.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to stuff this down and I need to please the people around me. And like, I can't let myself be really taken care of.
I think it was, I put off having the surgery for so long because I was really scared. And then I reached my breaking point of like, I actually can't do this anymore. And then I think I just put my head down and I was like, okay, we can just do it. We can push through it. You've been pushing through this long. We can just do it.
Wow. Okay. And then what happened?
And then I was told we do not have more than 50 employees. So we don't have FMLA. So we need you to come back 4 weeks after your surgery.
After brain surgery.
So otherwise, because we can't guarantee you'll have a job after that, if not.
Okay. Yeah.
So I did.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And then that was in 2012. And then since then, I have had about every year or so, I will have a pretty incapacitating couple months of flares.
Yeah.
And then I go to the doctor. I do the things. I do all of the body work, all of the stuff, everything I can think of. And then it kind of eases off. And then I've not been pain-free since before I was diagnosed with trigeminal neuralgia. Like I've had pain.
How long ago was that?
So that was 2011. So I've always had, feels like there's an ice pick in my skull.
Wow.
And so I do it. And then again, in the last 2 years, it's been getting increasingly frequent and intense.
Wait, can I just ask, are you still at that toxic workplace?
No, I am not.
Okay. Cheers to that. Everyone with ADHD knows what to do to improve their lives. You go to bed at a reasonable time and you wake up early, make a list, cross the things off the list in order, manage your time well. Yeah, we know what to do, but ADHD is not a disorder of not knowing what to do. It's a disorder of knowing exactly what to do, but not being able to get yourself to do it. That's why ADHD is so frustrating. We're smart and we want to succeed, but we can't get ourselves to do the things that we know we should do in order to make improvements. That's why I created Focused. I'm a life coach with multiple certifications, and since 2019, I've spent thousands of hours coaching adults with ADHD. Time for me to focus on you. Hello. Welcome to your coaching call. I am going to be coaching you today on relationships. I know what it takes to help an adult with ADHD go from hot mess express to grounded and thriving. Focused is my monthly coaching membership where we go deep. and we get to the root cause of what holds us back with ADHD. I'll teach you how to understand your ADHD brain, regulate your emotions, and accept yourself, flaws and all. With this foundation, we build the skills to improve life with ADHD. And not only do you get skills and tools in Focused, but you're surrounded by a huge community of adults with ADHD who are also doing the work of self-development right alongside of you. Dr. Ned Hallowell says healing happens in community, and I have absolutely found this to be true. As a matter of fact, listen to what actual Focus members have to say about being in this program.
What can I say about Focused? Full community of people who have issues similar to you, and no one judge you.
Focused has really supported me with my difficulties and asking for help. I've been encouraged and cheered on by the community.
I really like that you can do as much or as little as you want. It's not just about the volume of the content, it's about the quality.
Focus has helped me understand ADHD better.
I would recommend this to anyone.
I would thoroughly recommend Focused.
I can confidently say that this is one of the best decisions that I have made for myself.
So if you're an adult with ADHD who wants to figure out how to be motivated from the inside out and make real, lasting changes in your life, join hundreds of others from around the world in Focused. Click the link in the episode description to check it out. So you transitioned out of there to somewhere else.
Well, it's so funny though that I did get out of the toxic workplace. I did start doing I got my first coaching certification to learn how to coach myself.
Love.
But again, used a little bit of coaching against myself to support myself to stay in that toxic work environment.
Oh, man.
But then also, again, there's a series of situations that happened in terms of like tail coverage and having to pay money to quit your job because malpractice stuff. And yeah, so some stuff. And so left that job then at like an exponentially better job now, but still pain keeps flaring and being, up all night in the operating room and doing the things, and also sort of would just push through. And then, last year I had a couple months where I just was in excruciating pain all the time.
Yeah.
Then it finally got better. And then starting of this year, was in severe pain most of the time, but there wasn't you can call out because taking one day off of work isn't going to fix it.
Right.
And I was doing every single thing that I could to get out of pain, and then was so worried about, but what if people won't believe me? And what if they just think that I'm faking this? Or what if I get in trouble? And sort of my pain, it was really, I couldn't get out of bed. So I had to send my son to my parents' house in California to, watch him. And I couldn't get out of bed except for to go to work.
Okay, so talk to me for a minute about being in excruciating pain and yet so scared that people won't believe you. Like, let's just dive into that for a second. Where do you think, if you don't mind, where do you think that originated? Like, at what point in your life did you start believing people aren't going to believe me? And I don't mean that's your fault. I mean, at what point in your life was that message given to you?
Honestly, the first grade teacher.
Dang. Yeah.
In my mind, they're connected somehow. I was 6. And I knew that I was doing it right, but there was nothing on her part to acknowledge, oh my gosh, I see you. And I see what happened.
Yeah. So you got in trouble. There's always consequences. Even if being shamed is the quote unquote only consequence, that's still a significant consequence, especially for someone who's that little.
Yeah.
And so then we start having this belief of I'm not going to be believed. People don't really understand me. People don't really see me. People don't really trust me when I say, this is what's happening for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus a culture of medicine of people putting IVs in themselves to walk around and do rounds, or people doing, there's just medicine is just, this is sort of a deeply ingrained like culture of we just push through, which is not healthy or
Yep.
functional. And also what happened with my last work situation.
Yes.
They knew my pain and that when that was happening, I think they actually really truly knew that I was in pain because generally the default is some people get hysterical when they are in pain. And my default is to stop talking.
Okay.
And so I would be talking and then I would have it just feels like a searing nerve, like burning sensation in your face. And so I'd start talking and then like usually just a single tear would like roll down my cheek. And so I think they were like, we know that something's gone. And so I think for me, a lot of the stuff that I've struggled with in the years since is that the pain is different. And so it doesn't happen. And so like, it's not as obvious. And also I just learned to mask it because I think what happened with that other job was that you say things like, I'm having thoughts of hurting myself. And they're like, well, maybe a vacation.
Yeah. Sorry, we got vacations planned.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay, so how did I know that you did actually follow the steps to like go on medical leave. And so I'm curious, where did you find that bravery? And what was the process for you to help yourself get to the point where you could just like take action for yourself?
I mean, I think I was doing a breath work session where about my pain and I got to the point where I just was like, I ended up thanking my pain for getting so bad that I couldn't ignore it anymore.
Wow.
And I also sort of, because I couldn't get out of bed and because I was like, this has to happen. And I think also just through therapy and through coaching sort of, and just looking at like, this is actually just, it's not safe for like nothing would ever happen partially because of ADHD that I can focus through it.
Hyper focus.
I can hyper focus and get the task done. And so I don't think there was never any safety thing, but it was just like, this is actually not sustainable. I was spending $300 to $500 a week to try to do stuff to get out of pain so I could go to work.
Wow.
And so we were trying to do modifications and then just sort of reached the point of like, this is actually just, I do need I just need to stop.
Yeah.
And so in doing that, I mean, again, I still have pain all the time now, but from a nervous system perspective and all of the healing that I've done, like I'm just feeling, I'm much more regulated. I still have the pain, but I've been sort of learning a lot more about things like neuroplasticity association with chronic pain.
Oh my goodness, yes. Have you read William Deutsch's books, especially the second one? Oh, I'm so sorry. My brain is not remembering the book. The Brain That Changes Itself. And then the second one, The Brain That Heals Itself, is about exactly what you're saying.
I haven't read that one.
Norman Deutsch. I'm so sorry. Norman Deutsch, The Brain That Heals Itself.
No, I did. There was a conference in Boulder that I got an email about neuroplastic pain. And so I was like, okay, so this is sort of stupid. This is a sign. Like I need to go to this.
There's no denying it.
And it was good because it really just talked about the constant state of the sympathetic nervous system, chronic fight or flight sensation. And I think the biggest thing for me was that like them saying that the pain is really real. And so granted that there are some structural things that are happening and muscle spasms and things like that are happening in my neck and from scar tissue from the surgery and all of those things, the brain essentially has like rewired itself and so that's the thing that I'm really working on now is like, okay, what serves me? Because I love medicine.
Yes.
I love my job. And for me right now, like I can't go back because it like at least in the immediate future, because I'm still in pain. And there is the thing of, I will just get back in the cycle of self-abandonment
Can you say more about self-abandonment? Because that made me feel a big feeling.
Yeah.
The self-abandonment is the perfect way to describe it. What was that for you?
just got emotional.
Mm.
I couldn't get out of bed,
Yeah.
but I didn't want to let people down.
Mm.
So I went to work, and I didn't want people to think that I was being dramatic or faking it, and it doesn't look like I'm in pain. And so being so worried about what other people are going to think or believe about me just became all I could focus on.
Wow.
And so I have a lot of sadness about the fact that I just put that over, hey, I can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm super distracted by the knife, like the ice pick sensation in my head. And so, and it was like, well, you've pushed through and you can just keep pushing through and you can just do it. And it's fine because like these people have had surgeries booked and whatever. And I'm like, it's just, I'm really proud of myself. It was funny. I had I think one of the things I was coaching and focused, and I had a client was talking about something about, she was really worried that someone was going to think something of her. And I said, but is it true? And she's like, no. And I was like, somehow there was a connection too. And I was like, I am so worried that they're going to think that I'm not really in that much pain. And I was like, if only it was that easy to just be like, oh my, you don't think I'm in pain? Oh my God, my pain's gone.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's so amazing. Thank you for doubting me.
Yes.
Like, I think there was just so much gaslighting of like, they're going to think it's not real. And then I start doubting, like, are you being dramatic? Are you? So again, it is just, it's a medicine culture thing. It's a trauma reaction thing.
Absolutely.
It's a shame thing. It's all of the things. So
take me to the point where you made the phone call or you wrote the email or whatever it was, because I remember, I believe you were in coach training with me when you were realizing that you just could not keep going. And I remember you being coached on all of that. And I know that, you were seeing a therapist and other modalities as well. But what did you have to do internally to like actually take the step of, I will not abandon myself anymore?
after calling HR and sobbing hysterically, you mean?
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
So that was part of it. I think something happened. Something clicked also because the pain was making me so exhausted that I was having a harder time with like responding to some of the emails.
Sure.
And again, no safety issues, just like admin stuff.
Yeah.
I'm acutely aware of how defensive I am, where I'm like, no safety.
I promise everything was safe. But
I know.
I
But
think that's valid because you wouldn't ever want anyone to think otherwise. But every ADHDer knows that you're going to be good at the stuff that you care about.
Yeah.
And then let the other stuff slide. So everyone knows it's just the emails. It's just the phone. It's just the chart or whatever it is, right? It's like all of that admin stuff.
But it's just like being like, but I'm okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and so because of that, then I got another, like, I had a discussion about my email stuff, which then I mentioned.
You need to step up discussion?
Yes. And you need to step up, which then I brought up ADHD, and then HR was like, wait, what? And so that came up, and then I started being in contact with the accommodations and leave coordinator people. And so I'd already started having, like, my neurologist is just amazing.
Cool.
And having my, like, whenever I would start having self-doubt about, like, is this being dramatic? And, like, what if people think I'm faking it? She would just be like, this is the stupidest long game if you're faking it. So you had surgery on your brain 12 years ago to plan for calling out of work in 12 years.
Yeah.
Good
for her. Thank God for her.
No, so much for her, just in terms of just like sort of, and also be willing to be like, when I was like, well, maybe I'm just going to stop doing this one thing. She's like, I think that we need to do more than just not do overnight call. Like she's just like,
Yeah.
you can't be in the operating room for 8 hours at a
Yeah.
time doing
Yeah.
like all of those things. And so she said, I think if we start too small, we're going to slowly back away from stuff.
Mhm.
And so through a bunch of kind of frustrating sort of dynamic and lack of communication and whatever, we started with the takeaway surgery, takeaway call.
Mhm.
And then I just wasn't getting enough better because I could not get out of the loop of, but other people are gonna have to do more work. Other people are gonna be mad at me.
Still feeling responsible,
my
still
God.
feeling like it's everybody else that I need to worry about.
Yeah, and I did. And at the
Yes.
end, when it was like, I think you need to, something just clicked where I was just like, because they started talking about like, it's not appropriate for you to spend all of your time and money on your time off to be able to go to work. Somebody in the HR
love
coordinator
that.
person, leave a coordinator, did that. And that sort of shifted, sort of a light went off.
Yeah.
And then I reached my point where I was like, I know that I can't do this anymore. And then they asked, and then there was like a desperate plea at least of, because I was like, well, I really just want to cover the next like 4th of July because like I'm supposed to work that holiday. So like if I know that there's an end point, I can push through it. And they were like, no, that's not how this works. Like once you reach the point when you're saying you're done, I mean, again, from like a legal perspective,
sure.
it
sure.
makes sense for them to say like, if you were saying you are needing a break, like it has to start now.
Good.
So
Good for
I
them.
think no, it was good. And then
It's like a beautiful boundary that gave you freedom.
it gave me the opportunity to completely freak out about everyone being pissed off at me.
Okay, cool.
And then tremendous relief.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it just, it was reaching the breaking point. And then now, as I said, like being away from it gives me space. Whenever I interact with, there's still those thoughts of, I'm really good friends with a couple of my partners and like, I just am so protective of them. And I'm like, I'm so sorry that there's extra work.
Aww.
And I'm so sorry. And they're just, amazing. And they're just like, yeah, it happened. Like we all have had stuff.
Good. Yeah. So good. I feel like, and we talk about this sometimes in focus, like we don't allow ourselves just to be human. And sometimes humans are not well and other humans have to pick up the slack. And that happens to every human. But for those of us with ADHD and trauma, we think that like, it's just me and I'm such a big problem and everybody's going to be angry. And like, I shouldn't ever have to get sick or obligate other people to like cover me.
Yeah.
Like when I'm sick and Greg is taking care of me and I'm like, I'm so sorry. And he's like, why are you apologizing to me? Like, this does not make sense. Like, this is what we do.
Right.
Like, you get sick and I take care of you. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
And I love taking care of people.
Other people. Yeah. When he's sick, I'm like, let me help.
Right.
What can I do?
Right.
It's so true. But when it's me, there's the vulnerability and the feeling like I shouldn't be the one to put someone else out.
Yeah. And related in all of the things, also the extra degree of difficulty of I'm a single mom.
Yes.
And so this is my income and this is my livelihood.
Yes.
And then having to get really clear of like, but I'm not okay. Like
I'm not okay.
I'm not okay when I'm doing it there. And I will be okay because there's other things that I can do that don't have like constantly being like, oh, I hope people don't die. Like,
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. So just, again, that added degree of like wanting to, but again, it has been so healing the last couple months just to be like, oh my God, what do I want to do?
Listening to yourself for the first time?
Oh my God. Yeah.
What's that transition been like?
Well, it's funny because I really do think that I have a really solid intuition and I really have like trusted a lot of things of like little things are hard and I will overthink things.
Sure.
But like in terms of like some stuff of like, I'm going to do medicine or walking in and being like, oh, this is the house I'm going to buy or people, like real big decisions on like where I went to college, where I went to medical school, just having a true internal knowing about stuff. I've always had a really good sense of that, and I feel really solid about it. But like I have been within medicine, it has just been a lot of like, okay, so what we're doing is like, again, you go to medical school, you go to residency, and then you get a job. And then you're like, and then my current situation now, they're like, tell us what vacation requests you want in 6 months. And you're like, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Or like in 5 minutes.
I booked my flight out here. Like I booked that flight out. And then like a couple weeks later, I was like, okay, now I'm going to book the return. And then I did, because I was like, we just do, I don't know.
So
There's so
good.
much
Yeah.
in the air. We were just like, I'm
Yes.
just going to do the thing. And so now where I'm like, oh my God, like, what do I want to do? And doing, I mean, again, like if things work out and recovery continues going better, and then I can work how I was working before, then maybe that's a thing. But
Sure.
like doing other things that are sort of just like feeling my soul and feeling really good and actually taking a second and being like, oh my God, this feels good. And I want to
Yes.
do this. And I love this because, yeah, ADHD and physician within a big system, like it's really great because stuff's taken care of. But also vacation requests 6 months in advance and doing things in this way and just like
Operating within a gigantic system.
is just it's great in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And the security of it and the safety of it is good, but also just so now I'm just like as part of healing and recovery, like again learning more about ADHD and how it shows up, and then kind of really like, even if I go back, if and when I go back, like how do I want to do things
So good.
differently, and like my side business and coaching, and then just really playing with like advocacy for physicians with ADHD or coaching just in general. Like,
I love that.
yeah.
Are you specifically coaching physicians with ADHD, or is it open to anyone? Like, who do you love to coach?
I love coaching. I love ADHD in general. Again, the focus, there were so many barriers to me actually, because I was certified. Focus was my 4th certification, and I would
So good.
freak out anytime the idea of actually getting a client would happen, and my nervous system would just be like, oh my God, you're going to die. And so like within Focus actually starting coaching, and I was like, oh no, this is amazing and I love it.
So let's explain to people, because I don't think they know, or not everybody knows. So when you certify through me, you have the opportunity to coach focused members. So if you want to, at first it's part of your training, but then you graduate from your training, and then post your training. Wow, that was awkward, but whatever. Post training, you have the opportunity to coach members, like clients within Focus. So you can just open up your calendar and coach people in Focused. And it sounds like for you, that was a beautiful stepping stone, because you didn't have to do the marketing. You didn't have to do, the selling, but you just like would get clients on your schedule and coach. Yeah.
So great. And it was like the barrier of like just the obstacle of like, okay, I'm not going to die and nobody's going to waste their money. And it's just like,
oh, it's so good. Like I am good at this. I can help people. Yeah.
And I was originally going to focus on physicians, but like for me, and then I backed it to like, I love all things ADHD.
Yeah.
And then also I've backed it up further to people I enjoy talking to.
Yeah.
Who are willing to look at their stuff.
Love. Yeah. And what's so cool about that is you're just open to coach anyone.
Yeah.
You can help anybody. And I think eventually, like, you're going to attract the clients that you are just like, oh yeah, these are my people.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you find that you have like a special intuition with people who are self-abandoning?
Yes.
You want to say more about that?
I think for me, one of the things that I actually learned from you is because I've done other programs and sort of looking at the steer maps, really focusing on the unintentional model and the reality of what's coming up.
Yes.
because again, like in some other programs, you so quickly use it to like, why would you choose to think that?
Yeah.
Or also like, well, I would like to feel this. And I'm like, I just really honoring like what is really coming up and why are we
Yes.
doing what we're doing?
Yes. What's actually happening?
What's actually happening, and then stopping it instead of like beating yourself up about like, why the hell do I keep doing this? Why can't I stop? Just being like, oh, so this is what's going on. Because I think
Yes.
that's the key to
Agreed.
starting with the truth and being honest with ourselves.
Oh, it's too hard.
I know. And so for me, like, I think I'm really good at like, yay for ADHD.
Yeah.
Of like, I follow the dots. I notice, like, connect the dots,
Patterns.
the patterns, and also just like with absolute loving kindness.
Yes.
Like, I am
So much empathy.
direct.
Yeah.
And I want people to just, I mean, again, feel seen, heard, and validated.
Yeah.
And also just be like, and also whenever I coach, there's sort of just a mindfulness of like, what is our role in the situation?
Mhm.
And hey, this seems really toxic.
Yes.
So the person that you're in a relationship with, that you're doing these things, like what can we like I used coaching before to stay in a 7-year, very abusive, emotionally abusive relationship.
Just pause there for a second, because I don't know if people really understand what it means to use coaching to stay in toxicity. And I've done the same thing. So what it means is you learn these tools that say, hey, you can modify what you're thinking. You can get better results. You can change how you're feeling. And that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But then people like you and me, what we do is we say, great, I'm going to change me, and I'm going to use these tools basically against myself to stay in relationships or jobs or whatever that are hella toxic.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use these tools against myself so that I can feel better about staying in toxicity. Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So what you are really helping your clients with is, how about we not?
Yeah.
How about we not do that?
And also, if you are having the exact same situation every single place you go, maybe there's some stuff.
Yeah, there's a pattern there.
Maybe there's
Yep.
a pattern there. Maybe there's some
Yeah.
of it with you. But again, this is not, let's change our mindset and then stay in a toxic situation.
Yeah.
And
good.
sometimes we just need to be told, like, this isn't, again, you need to be told, and then also you need to be in a place to hear it.
Yes.
Details. But like, so what is happening here is not okay, because people
Yes.
just so desperately, I think, in this situation, again, sometimes you're defensive, sometimes you don't want to hear it, but like just somebody else saying like, so what's happening is not okay.
Yep. Objectively, not okay.
Yeah.
It's good. As we wrap up, what I would love, if you are game, if you're down for it, do you have any encouraging words for ADHDers who are experiencing burnout, chronic pain, self-abandonment? Can you just give a little like pep talk, encouragement, just from your experience? Like if somebody's listening and they're so resonating with your story and they're like, I want what she has. Like, I want to be able to do what it takes to like leave my workplace or to take care of myself. I want to stop self-abandoning. What do you have to say to listeners who are just like desperate to hear some encouragement about that?
I mean, I think a lot of it really just starts with, I mean, again, if you're doing it on your own versus, I mean, again, ideally finding somebody who just really is like a cheerleader and an advocate for you.
Yeah.
In terms of like helping you see the things and talking it out. But I think just basing things on reality of like what is really happening
Yeah.
in this situation. And I think that's sort of the thing of like, hey, I'm really hurt. And then we so quickly jump to this thought of like, oh, I shouldn't be hurt, or it's it's not that big of a deal. So you're gaslighting yourself. You're invalidating yourself. And so like, there's a real big difference between like sort of just like constantly whining and this is terrible. And then also just being in a situation where you're like, I think just sort of also really tapping into like, what is your body saying?
Yeah.
And telling you. And so if you're like constantly in fight or flight or like needing to sort of all the ways that we try to control situations to be better, just, I think we get so scared of, okay, but if I leave, then I'm never going to find anything else. And if I'm going to do whatever, but if like the number one, like, again, I'm not going to find a job. I'm not going to find a healthy relationship. I'm not going to have something else. I'm not going to be able to support my family. Like that sort of muddies the water.
Yep.
And so while sort of teasing out like your steps and having strategy can be helpful for like some of the stuff I'm doing now about like, okay, what else can I do if just going back to medicine in the way that I was doing it before doesn't end up being possible. I think it's just really starting with like, I am not okay with this and how this is.
Powerful.
And just being really honest about that. And it's really scary sometimes, but just like trusting your body and just being like, this isn't okay.
Yep.
And then stopping. Because our brain wants to go to the excuse making and all of
The
stuff.
gaslighting. You're fine.
Yeah.
Don't be dramatic.
Right. And you can't just stop forever because our brains go on and trauma and all the things like that. But just being like, starting with like, this isn't okay.
Good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Dr. Carrie.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
This
you.
was such a treat. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you so much. This was, I'm really,
It's really good.
really appreciative for how you've, in addition to just coaching, like the nuances of like trauma-informed stuff, and then just really approaching things with kindness and just really validating sort of people's experience, I just think is just shifted so much for me in my life. And so I will be forever grateful.
I adore you.